Karen,
Yes,
have you ever experienced something that you couldn't explain, like a coincidence?
all the time.
All the time,
All the
right?
time.
All the time. Well, it didn't happen as often to me, but I think there's a reason for that.
Mhm.
The reason might be that we're just not paying attention, right? I mean, a while back, I talked about that incident that happened to me in the airplane that completely rocked
Yes.
my world. And I talked about the fact that I was adamant about remembering it and paying attention to it.
Right.
Well, this week we're talking about that exactly, the power of coincidence
Ooh,
when you stop and actually pay attention.
nice.
Now, the stories that our guest this week is going to share with us will shake you to the core as
Mm.
we explore just how wonderfully strange our universe is.
My name is Will,
And I'm Karen.
and unlike Mulder and
We
Scully,
both want to believe.
so we've embarked on a journey of discovery.
We've talked to people deeply entrenched in the spiritual and metaphysical world.
We've thrown ourselves into weird and wonderful experiences. I even joined a coven of witches.
And wait, you joined a coven?
Yep, all in the interest of finding something
Anything.
that will prove that there's something beyond this physical,
three-dimensional world we all live in.
This is the Skeptic Metaphysicians.
Welcome to Skeptic Metaphysicians. I'm Will.
And I'm Karen.
And this week we're bringing you a conversation about possibilities. Our guest is the author of The Divine Language of Coincidence, How Miracles Transformed My Life After I Began Paying Attention. Now, she's also going to chat with us about some of the miracles that are happening right now all around us. And she's had the honor of working or knowing such esteemed people as R. Buckminster Fuller and President Jimmy Carter.
Wow.
Yes, and she's here with us today to blow our minds with her stories of miracles and coincidences that might just help you see the world we live in a whole new light. Welcome to the show, Sophia Demas.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh my gosh, we are so excited. And I hope I got your last name correct because I practiced it like 30 times.
At least 30.
I'm glad to hear I got it right. Yeah. The title of your book, besides being very specific, is very intriguing as well. And reading your bio, I saw that there certain things happened to you, coincidences happened to you that when you started kind of putting them together, it all started to make a certain kind of sense. Can you share some of those incidences with us?
Well, it started when I was 19, when I was going through some existential angst, like every 19-year-old. But
Yeah.
And some 50-year-olds.
these two issues just seemed unsolvable to me. And I was just almost in a crisis. And then within 2 months, this involved a man I met and a dream. And as a result of these events, my problems were solved completely. And I had transformed. I had literally entered womanhood, a different person. And it wasn't lost on me. I mean, and this man appeared and then disappeared. I was 19, he was 27. He was an intellectual, working on his PhD on universal theory. I'm a party girl. You can only, talk about the philosophical things to a point. So it was just this perfect thing that happened. I never really thought about it, but these things started to happen. And everybody I would tell these stories or these events, people started saying things like, oh, these things only happen to you. And it was almost annoying because I know that it didn't only happen to me. And then things just kept happening. And I would kind of ask for something and like in a thought, and then some coincidence would happen. And then I would get the miracle. And a medium, a world famous medium, Vicky Gay, told me like 15, 16 years ago that I was going to write a book. And the way I met her was very weird. And I said, absolutely not. I said, that is not in the cards. And I told her why. I said, I have nothing to say. And two, I said, I'm a people person. There's no way that I am going to sequester myself and write. Okay. And
Yeah.
she listened and very calmly said, word for word, Spirit says when she's ready, there are many spirits here to help her and many hands on earth. And then what happened, this was in 2011, I was reconnecting with a childhood friend. And I told her my latest miracle. And she says, "Oh, these things only happen to you." And something clicked because by this time there were so many events that, everyone has a coincidence story or an after death communication story, a miracle story. But the number was so, I mean, they were just numerous. And
And
we're like,
things were happening every day?
no, just key events. And so I really meditated on it. And what came up was that whenever the coincidence happened, I never said, "Oh, whoa, what a coincidence," and then move on. I took action.
Mhm.
And it was the taking action that brought the miracle. So basically, my philosophy is that there's this divine intelligence out there, this intelligence that wants us to be happy and find our true purpose. And by putting coincidences in our path, it's just one of the clever ways this intelligence can communicate with us. But my experience is putting the coincidence in your path to bring you closer to your true purpose, and then you take action. And by taking action, you and divine intelligence co-create miracle.
That little intelligence, I'll tell you.
So, what do you mean by taking action? Can you give us an example of one of these coincidences that you had and the action that you took? So, just so I can kind of understand that a little better.
Okay. Now, another philosophy is that one miracle is not bigger or better than the other, but one can be more important in what yields. Okay. So I'm going to give you two very short ones that happened just before our wedding. And also, I did not want to get married. That was a decision I had made. I wanted no children because I had my careers put my focus on. And so I was very successfully single until I was 45. So Frank and I were getting married. So we decided to get married on the 4th of July, and the wedding was going to be the 4th of October. So that only gave us 3 months to put this wedding together. And I wanted a really fun wedding. Well, all the venues were taken and going to find a musician or I thought, okay, photographers. I thought we'll just put instant cameras on the tables or something. At this point, the Mutter Museum, I don't know if you've heard of the Mutter Museum here in Philadelphia, but it houses all these like medical oddities. Like
That's the one that's
Ooh.
right that's the one that's right next to the fodder, right?
the what?
The fodder museum?
What's
The
that?
mutter and the fodder?
Oh,
So
That's what we forgot. I forgot to warn her. I'm sorry.
that's pretty good, I have to say.
Thank you, Sophia. See, it was pretty good, Karen.
Mhm.
Pretty good.
She's being kind.
Sorry.
So they called me and they said, we have that date is canceled. And it was like, like 4,000. I don't know what it was, but it was expensive. But so we're considering it because I thought, okay, my friend is a event planner and she could turn a warehouse into something beautiful. But I really loved that room. So about exactly at this time, okay, and timing is so important here. I call my friend Anne, and a man answers that's not her husband. So I said, "Hello." I said, "Is Anne there?" And this man, that's all I said, goes, "Sophia, is that you? Is that you? You called me. It's Jerry. You called me. Look, I'm late for a meeting. I'm running. Can I call you back?" And I went, "Jerry? I mean, this guy I only knew socially, and he recognized my voice. I said, "Jerry, would you please promise me that you're going to call? Promise me you're going to call. It's crucial." And he says, "I promise." So he calls, and it just so happened that Jerry was the owner for a short period of time of this very beautiful old hotel. And because of that call, he gave us the Barclay Hotel for free. He threw in the presidential suite for 2 nights if I would allow him and his girlfriend to come.
What?
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, now the second one, I get a call from this woman and she says, "This is Lisa Marie, and I just found your driver's license in Rittenhouse Square." I went, "Oh my God." It was winter and I don't like to carry bags. So it was in my pocket. Lo and behold, driver's license is gone. So I said, "Well, great." I said, "Where do you live?" And tells me she's 2 blocks away, which kind of makes sense. And I did, "Look, just put it through my mail slot." She does. She writes this lovely little letter about how she and her boyfriend love to go to Oregon because I'm from Oregon and I have an Oregon driver's license. So about 2 months later, I get a call and it's, "Hi, this is Lisa Marie. I remember I found your driver's license. I know this is going to sound weird, but I just found your ATM card."
Oh my God.
What?
So I would go to this ATM machine that, would spit out the card right away. Well, this one keeps it. And then it says, "Would you like another transaction?" So the person after me, I left. I was used to having my card. The person, could come and wipe out my whole bank account, right? Well,
Right,
Hmm.
it was
right.
Lisa Marie. That
Oh my gosh.
Okay. And so she says, "Would you like me to put it through your mail slot?" I said, "No, we have to meet. We have to
Right.
meet. We meet for coffee." And I said, "Do you know how to play Concierto de Aranjuez?" And she said, "Yes, it's one of my favorite pieces." So she gets the classical guitars. It's by Rodrigo. It's for the classical guitar. She gets her friend who used to play at this 4-star restaurant, the classical guitar. And I walk down the aisle to one of my favorite musical compositions.
Wow.
That's
So
wonderful.
2 things. First, Sophia, things like that only happen to you. And
Well,
no, right, and
the
2,
second thing.
well, no, this that would be the 3rd thing. The
Oh, okay.
second thing is, have you gotten a restraining order on Lisa Marie? Because it sounds like someone was stalking you. She's showing up everywhere you were at. I don't know.
I know,
Uh,
but the point I'd like to make here for the listeners is that how easy would it have been with Jerry when he says, "I'll call you later"? I could have said, "Don't bother. I have nothing to talk to you about. This
Hmm.
is just a bizarre coincidence. Wow. Okay, bye." Or when she says, "Can I put it through your mail slot?" Yes, just put it through my mail slot. Isn't this wild? But no, it was bigger than me. I had to take action. So that's what I
Okay.
mean.
I see. So you took
Yep.
action based on noticing this is a coincidence. Something must be there that I've
Bigger
got to
than me.
explore further.
Hmm.
And that ultimately ended up in being a wonderful thing for your wedding on both occasions. That's a remarkable story. That's
Yes,
incredible.
and in a very sort of limiting time. Now,
Right.
was it nice that I got these 2 wonderful gifts for my wedding? Yes. But what I would consider more important is the 3 major coincidences, and I don't have to go into them, but they're 3 huge coincidences because I had left my husband. I left him because he had anger issues. He was a rager.
Oh.
Mm. Oh, wow.
And you know what? I can leave. So I did.
Hmm.
he tried everything, but these childhood issues, kind of keep
Yeah.
eating at you. So, and it got to the point where I was never going to lay eyes on this jerk ever again. And within 2 months, 3 remarkable coincidences happened. This is in 2009. One was giving me advice. The second one disarmed me. And the third one was just beyond, which involved a book. I'll tell you about that one because now we're flying to Hawaii. We're back together and we're flying to Hawaii so I could be the matron of honor for my best friend for the 3rd time. And so I had to say to myself, okay, if he's coming with you, you can't be in fear. Okay. You have to trust. You can always leave again, but you have to trust. Just as we were getting in the taxi, I thought, oh, I need reading material because, Maui's a long way away from Philadelphia. And so I
Hmm.
run upstairs and I just grab this book and I'm in the cabin. I went, oh no, endless energy. This is no beach read, you know? So, anyways, I'm on the plane and I start reading this book and it was amazing. This woman, Deborah Green, who has a PhD in kinesiology, talks about these aural fields and she gives these readings and these are like energy readings and she heals people. And I'm like, my God, that is incredible. I would tell Frank about it. And then I'm, going in the back of the book and looking at some of the resources. And, like Dr. Larry Dossey says, prayer works. Okay, back and forth. And then I go to the back of the book and there it is, Deborah Green, Maui, Hawaii.
Oh,
What?
Oh, not
wow.
only that, she lived on Kihei Road, and that was where our condo was.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
So when we had our layover, I call her. I mean, what
Oh,
else are you going to do? I call her, I tell her what just happened. I said, these are the times that we have available.
Mm.
She's giving both of us a reading. I said, I have to check with Frank because this is not Frank's lingo. Okay. The
Mhm.
miracles and nothing like that. So I said,
mm.
Frank, I've been telling you about this. Look, Maui, Kihei Road. I said, if you agree, it's your Christmas present. He says, well, it's meant to be. Now that again, whoa. So we went
Yeah.
on our,
Frank, it's like I don't even know you.
that was in 2009. And I am now married ever since to my dream companion. He has not had one episode. He's transformed. He's this absolutely incredible spiritual being. I can't
And
be happier or luckier.
and this was thanks to that woman's healing. She healed his auric field, and that what is what
In
you
one
think.
session.
I mean, it's just the most incredible story. So I would say that this grouping of coincidences, I would give them more importance than these wonderful little gifts for
Sure.
my wedding.
Well,
Sure.
it was interesting. Well, as you were talking about the first coincidences about the wedding, it just so happens that something very, very similar to us happened as well, where we had a very short amount of time to find a location, and everywhere we went, we got married in Asheville, North Carolina, and everyone who knows Asheville at all knows there's a waiting list of at least a year, sometimes two. And we were
Mhm.
like, yeah, we'd like to get married next
6
October.
weeks.
And she's like, what? Yeah. And then through a sense of cancellations, all of a sudden we had our wedding, a dream wedding in
Incredible.
Asheville, North Carolina. And it was raining all of the days leading up to it. I'm sorry, were you going to say that?
No, I was gonna
Jane?
say everything, like, the venue had a cancellation, the musicians had a cancellation, the photographer, and it was all on a Sunday, so the price was apparently way cheaper. No one wants to get married on Sunday, which I don't know why, but it was great. This lady calls me, she's like, "I'm your fairy godmother. Guess what?" Because we were living in Florida at the time, and she's like, "There's a cancellation here, and this," and she just went on and on. It was supposed to happen.
Yeah. And then it was
That's
Yeah.
raining every day leading up to the day. The day was beautiful,
Beautiful.
perfect weather. And then the very next day, it snowed.
Starting in the morning.
Like snowed us in kind of thing. So yeah,
now
it was
see,
incredible.
Yeah.
okay. And so when these things happen, exactly what you're saying, then you can communicate with this divine intelligence. You just say thank you. And I say thank you all day long, and I just get more and more and more. And gratitude is the highest form of prayer.
Absolutely. We
Yep.
talk about the power of gratitude all the time on the show and how important it is. So
Mhm.
we need to take a quick break because we are getting to that point. But when we come back, we're going to talk about not just coincidences and miracles that happen in our regular lives, but also we've communicated about miracles that are happening right now with yogis and things like that. When we come back, we're going to dive into some of those world renowned, earth shattering miracles when we return. Welcome back to the Skeptic Metaphysicians. We're talking to Sophia Demas, who is ushering us into the world of miracles and coincidences. And before the break, we dove into quite a few different coincidences or miracles that were happening to her and how taking action is what led to positive results. And it's really about paying attention, right? Noticing these things and following them up. So many people walk around having coincidences and miracles happening to them and they just let it, oh, what a coincidence, and walk away. You actually took the bull by the horns and you made something happen and made a beautiful wedding out of it. So, first of all, congratulations. Second of all, when we talked offline, you mentioned about Michio Kaku, who's a quantum physicist who goes on YouTube now and talks a lot about how in the future we're going to be
Oh,
doing time traveling and by location and all this kinds of stuff. But you mentioned in that email that yogis are been doing it for thousands of years already. Tell us about some of those stories that you have experience with.
well, it's that Michio Kaku. I mean, he just loves to tell us that very soon we're going to be able to do this stuff.
Yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow.
Well, I'll tell you, I have wanted to read autobiography of a yogi since the 70s. And
And you've not done it?
not until like 8 months ago, it kind of came into my orbit and I just dropped everything and ordered this book. And oh, it is just fantastic. I swear to you, I was having a personal relationship with this guy. Like I would question some things, and then 2 paragraphs down the same page, he would answer me.
Yeah.
One of the things was I thought, wait a second, he was talking about these quantum events that he had experienced, his yogi. And I thought, you're not supposed to be talking about these things, because I had heard that yogis don't talk about it in fear of being prideful. Two
Mm.
paragraphs down, he said, I'm not telling you everything. I mean, it was like this communication.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that is a must read if people are interested. But
Mhm.
then I heard that Greek Orthodox monks do these kinds of things up in Mount Athos in Greece, and Russian Orthodox monks off the coast of Alaska. I read this book, I believe it's either Silence of the Mountain or The Mountain of Silence, but it talked about some of these things the monks had done. But her story is a firsthand story of bilocation, that it's actually on my website, which is just sophiademas.com. On my influencers page, there's 8 people that I have had personal contact with who I consider to be mentors. And she is one of them. And you can go and read the blurb because it takes your breath away. So
Yeah,
it's
in fact,
true.
I read it, and it has to do with being trapped under tons and tons of rubble and how someone might have, helped her through it. It's a remarkable story, one I would definitely recommend you could check out. It's a great story. That one, and as well as the other stories you have about, your experience with Jimmy Carter and Buckminster Fuller and, a bunch of other people that you will recognize, the names of. You have also just recently released a brand new book that kind of piggybacks off the first one, yeah?
Yes. Well, you can only write one memoir. So what I did is I listed all the coincidences that led into miracles. And it was just the most natural thing to include those stories in my second book. The title of the book is Consciousness Beyond Death: True Stories of Signs, Messages, and Timing. So 7 of the 10 chapters are my experiences, and 3 are close friends. And it's very hard to pick which one is the strangest.
Mm.
So
So it's a collection.
yes,
It's a collection of coincidences and miracles and things that will make you go, "Whoa."
I have to tell you, I just feel it's just bigger than me, because I knew that scientists were studying consciousness. I had no idea they were studying coincidence. And so they do, they're studying coincidences. And then there's this outfit in the UK. It's the Scientific and Medical Network. And people should look this up because it's this conglomerate of scientists that study paranormal things. And the executive director, David Lorimer, every month he interviews a scientist and features their book. Well, I'm the person for September. So he is interviewing me and featuring both books. And 14 of these scientists and me, he invited me to plan and participate in the Synchronicity Summit Roundtable at the end of October. So,
They have those?
Wow.
yes, and it's all about synchronicity.
Write that down.
Yeah.
And furthermore, this is really interesting because I had asked Dr. Eben Alexander to endorse my book, and also Bernie Beitman, who is a scientist who studies coincidences. And they turned me down. Eben Alexander said, "Oh, there's not sufficient discussion of consciousness." And Bernie Beitman says, "I'm sorry, I can't endorse your book because it's not my field." Well, this is code. This is code for, oh, I can almost die, go to heaven, come back, even though I'm a neuroscientist, and write about my experience, my heavenly experience, because it's an NDE. Okay. NDEs have been scientifically researched for decades. But your topic, I can't touch with a 10-foot pole. Bernie Beitman, same thing, code. It's not my field. Well, then this David Lorimer sends me 2 articles he had co-authored on after-death communication. And now, all of a sudden, we have this new field in study just in time for my book release. And
Mm.
they have the initials, an acronym, ADC, just like NDE. Now we have ADC. And 3 days later, Bernie Beitman emails me and goes, "Since your email, I have received a flurry of after-death communication information. I will endorse your book."
Wow.
Wow.
There you go. That is incredible.
Still not
Um,
his field. Still not his field, right?
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, so all the research is being done in topics that were so taboo up until just a few years ago is astounding. I know the University of Virginia is right now is studying children and
Mhm.
studying the potential for memories of past lives
Yes.
within these children and things like that. So there's all kinds. There's a convention that just happened in Washington D.C. for near-death experience investigations and things like that. I mean, there's all these taboo topics are suddenly becoming mainstream, and more scientists are getting behind some of these things.
And they
So,
are all
it,
part of this outfit, the Scientific and Medical Network.
okay. Well, we may or may not add a link in our show notes. It depends on how much I can find on them. But I'm going to certainly do some research because that sounds astounding. I had no idea they were doing that. I had no idea there were such a group of people doing that. So,
It's great.
thank you. Yeah.
And everyone, I can't tell you how many people, then when they find out about this, they tell me their story. And I'm going to just tell you real quick. So I told my eye surgeon about the book, and she goes, "Well, I have a story for you." I go, "Okay." She said, "After a really long day, I was supposed to go to this gala with my husband, and I really didn't want to go. I was dead tired, but I had to drive the babysitter home because my husband's rule is never be alone with the babysitter," which I thought was interesting. And she
Hmm.
says, "I'm driving back home, and all of a sudden, I hear my grandmother yell, 'Wake up!'" And she goes, "And I woke up and I was heading right into a brick wall." And she was able to save herself.
That brings up so many questions. But going back to the term of coincidences and miracles, you mentioned the intelligence, the universal intelligence. Is there a possibility that we are manifesting these things ourselves and putting things in our path so that different circumstances or outcomes will come to pass?
Well, I think that's weirder than having divine intelligence. I think
Well,
it's
I've been called worse.
no, what I thought was not my target audience were the evangelicals and the atheists. Okay. I don't know any
Mm,
evangelicals really, but I know a slew of atheists. So I gave 10 books to 10 atheists. And then they had to do a little survey. I was stunned. All 10 atheists loved the book. All 10 said that they would give it to another atheist. However, in so many words, what they all said was, "No, this is a manifestation of your all powerful mind. You manifested these things and then you cleverly seized upon the opportunity. And these miracles are your achievements and you have no business crediting God."
oh, those atheists.
What if it's a combination of the two? Say you want the perfect
Yes.
wedding.
Yes.
So you really want that and you're focusing on that and you're kind of manifesting that, but these miracles happen to help you get to that perfect wedding.
Mm,
So it's
Yes.
kind of both
Yes.
together.
yeah,
So it's your mind and God
right.
working together.
Co-creating.
And I would say I would probably give more credence to what you're saying simply because of the research that we've done on this show, where manifestation takes a emotional connection behind something.
Mhm.
Things that happen to you, these coincidences, there was no emotional connection to your driver's license that Lisa Marie found or your ATM card at the time. It just happened to be a coincidence. You weren't emotionally attached to the outcome. You were emotionally attached to the outcome of your wedding, but uh okay, now I might be taking it all back now. Now I'm thinking about
No,
it.
no, but remember, what I wanted was a venue for my wedding. What I
Right.
wanted were musicians, not the church organist.
Right.
So it
Mhm.
was that, put it out there. Now,
Mhm.
I have a problem with manifesting desires because we don't know what's best for us. So, for example, let's say that I want a red Ferrari. Okay, I want the red Ferrari really bad. The loan isn't going through. The money that I thought was coming from here isn't coming through. They can't find a red Ferrari, whatever. All these obstacles, divine intelligence also puts obstacles in front of you to let you know that might not be the best thing. But you know what? I've got free will. So I'm going to get this red Ferrari come hell or high water. And I do. I get the Ferrari, I go, I'm driving it home and I crash and die. Well, maybe I should have listened to those obstacles. And that is something I write about in my book.
Well, so then what I'm hearing from you is that whether it's for the positive or the negative, whether it's opportunities or obstacles, the important piece in this is to pay attention and take action based on what the universe is giving you.
Also, I have 3 stages of spiritual growth. Okay. So, first stage is from the perspective of wishful thinking. You're wishing for whatever you want. Coincidence happens. You go, oh, wow, what a coincidence. Keeps on wishing. Another coincidence. Oh, wow. Keep on wishing. And oh, why don't these things happen to me? Okay. The next level is from the perspective of hope. Now you're kind of getting it. The coincidence is there. Wow, I'm going to take action and hopefully I'll get the prize. But then at the top, and I get there, but then, because I'm human, I don't always stay there, but it's from the position of faith. When you just know that when things happen and you go, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then when things are in your path to prevent you, to listen to that and pay attention to that as well. And so then you never have to worry because whatever happens, it's the way it's supposed to go.
Very similar to the surrender experiment that we talk about on the show all the
Mhm.
time, right?
Yes.
The challenge is that people like me are walking around in a complete daze and did that brick just fall off my head? We don't, so that's the hard part for me specifically. It's hard for me to pay attention enough to realize, oh, someone's tapping me on the shoulder.
And sometimes it's about control. It's hard to let go of that control and surrender.
Very good
You know,
It's
point.
because
a
when you surrender, you
process.
have no control, and it's scary. You can be flailing out there in the ocean, hoping that you don't get eaten by a shark. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. Yeah, but the act of hoping you're not gonna get eaten by a shark might manifest the shark they come and eat you. So you gotta be really careful.
or it
So,
could like was it Jonah the whale? It could and then
oh,
take you somewhere else.
uh,
You could manifest
mm,
a life raft.
I think we probably should better off just leaving it there. The lessons that Sophia you've given us are wonderful.
Yes.
The important thing to note is to pay attention more. Make sense of all the signs that are happening around you, and that's going to take you to a better place
And
If
I,
you
I
take
just
action.
love
if you
I
take action.
I
Yes.
love using the term miracle instead of coincidence. I love that.
Well,
Yeah.
okay, but coincidences can be left alone as coincidences. The coincidences is what brought about the gift. And that's what I call a miracle.
Okay.
Okay, so coincidences led to the miracle.
Okay. I thought they were like little mini miracles that lead you to a
Well, yeah,
bigger
of
miracle.
course. Okay, we can look at it that way. We could look at it that
Yeah.
way.
Either way, this has been a miraculous show. So thank you so much, Sophia, for sharing your story with us. This has been wonderful. I urge you to go out to our show notes and look for her book. The link to her book will be there, as well as a link to her website. The first book is The Divine Language of Coincidence, How Miracles Transformed My Life After I Began Paying Attention. And Sophia's going to tell us the name of the second book.
Consciousness Beyond Death, True Stories of Signs, Messages, and Time.
Fantastic.
Nice.
I love those titles. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thank you.
And a huge thank you to you. We hope you've enjoyed this conversation as much as we have. We'd love for you to contribute by sending us a voicemail or an email from our website, skepticmetaphysician.com, or leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or any other podcasting platform that supports them. Karen and I love hearing from those that are moved to message us. It truly does fuel our passion. You are the reason we do this show, and knowing what you like and don't like help us craft the very best show we can so that we can help raise the vibration of the planet together. Well, that's all for now, but we'll see you on the next episode of The Skeptic Metaphysician. Until then, take care.